Episode 5, Complete Professional Organic, and why you would choose that for your salon or spa. In this episode, we're going to discuss through the Pinks Boutique tagline, Complete Professional Organic, and relatively worrying for me, I am going to be put on the interview hotspot by Luke Sheriff, one of the founders of Pinks Boutique, and my beloved husband, who is making me feel very nervous right now with a piece of paper that he won't show me the questions on.
I feel a bit like Jeremy Paxton. So an easy one to start with. The tagline is Complete Professional Organic. Why complete?
Okay, so it took us quite a while to get to Complete Professional Organic, but the one thing that was very obvious of what we were doing is that the very few organic brands that were starting to emerge at the point we were looking into making a product line, they had only made facial. If you had a look in a health food store, you could only find facial. And I was slightly flummoxed by that. And every R&D and every lab you went into said, you pick a range. And I was like, it's not really going to work for me. Like, I've got a beauty school. We don't just teach facials. And I help people open salons and spas. They don't just do facials. We're going to need everything. And the brands that all of you that are therapists and watching today, the brands that we're all used to are your Elemis's, your Dermalogicas, your Decleors. They can come in and do most elements of what you need. And so what we really felt was missing and what's required was the complete organic certified package. And so we went backwards. We kind of started with manicure, pedicure, facial, body, waxing, bath, gifts, boys to come. And so we wanted to make sure that we could walk into a building and we could have the complete offering. And not only it was complete of product, but it was complete in that they had the treatments that went with all of those product ranges as well. How's that?
Not bad. I think you probably missed out the point about them all being Soil Association certified.
Oh, completely certified. I'm going to save that for a next question.
So what's interesting about that is there are a few things we don't do in the range because they can't be done certified, which is waxing and nail polish. And people ask us about that a lot. We're always very balanced in our approach, which is, we're very honest. If we can't do something, we'd rather, hand you on to someone that makes that their area of
expertise. You're meant to be interviewing me.
But
so Luke, is it really complete?
So it's as complete as it can be organically, but other than that, a very good first answer. So the next easy question is, if it's complete professional organic, why professional, and what does that really stand for in this day and age?
Interestingly, that's probably becoming one of the strongest words in that sentence, in that there are so few professional brands. So those of you that are saying hello and sharing your love, you can dispel your anger at the kind of lack of professionalism in the professional market. I was brought up in the professional market, professional hair, beauty. That was what my parents did. Professional was meant to be professional. Now, the challenge you have nowadays as a salon or spa, and probably as a consumer, it's not a bad thing for you, but it is for us as a salon or spa owner, is that you take on a brand, you do all the training, you pay all your staff to do the training, you do all the consultation work, telling someone how to look after their skin with that brand. They don't buy it in the salon, they leave, they go online, they go on any amount of third-party websites, and they will somehow always find a deal that is cheaper, better, has got a gift with purchase, something that the salon can't offer or isn't being allowed to offer. And that sucks, frankly, when you're a salon owner. And so that was incredibly important. The other element is that our brand is professional in the core, in that we were professionals. Like, you were a professional sports person, so you got a professional badge. And I was a professional therapist with professional beauty schools. And what's really, really interesting when you start to look into skincare, and makes me really agitated in all honesty, is that so many skincare brand owners were in PR, were magazine editors, and frankly, as far as I can tell, looked at it and thought it was a great bandwagon to jump on and make some money. What else do? They all do the same things. What they never did was dedicated their life to facials, therapists, being at a bed, being in a salon, managing staff, and doing all the stuff that we did.
I don't think you will have needed to be watching the Facebook Live to see exactly how much Kirsty cares about that last point.
And I really hope and believe that it shines through in that when we walk into a salon, it is different gravy. Like Luke and I, whether we're together, whether we're separately, we can help them run that salon. If we needed to, and this has happened, we can go behind the reception and answer the phone, or end up sitting at a nail desk doing the set of nails. And it just brings with it a different level of understanding, of training, of depth. And I really think that that's what a lot of brands miss when you're a salon and a spa. And we want it to be a little breath of professional fresh air.
You made an interesting point being that about the sort of channels that people can buy skincare in, and just a bit of a drop. We have actually got a solution to that for our spas, which is our affiliate scheme. So we're always very conscious that we do have to have an online presence. You know, people do expect to be able to find you online, but we obviously wanted to give our spas and salons the best possibilities. Kirsty was saying about the different sales channels that spas and salons compete against if it's not a professional range, and obviously online is quite
if
big.
it is a professional range, they're still competing.
Well,
even when it is a professional range.
Yeah, possibly those people that say professional but also selling retail. So we've got an affiliate scheme, so our spas and salons can link to our website, they can drive traffic there, and then they get the kickback and commission. So we're trying always to put them first when it comes to growing the brand and retailing the product.
Yeah, because you do have to be very careful as a salon and ask your brand questions about their own website. Like, clearly you need a website to build a brand, so you wouldn't not have one. But I have known and have got some very good examples of very big shiny spa brands who've done some really naughty things where they make salons and spas give out vouchers or discount cards that essentially drive people to their main home website, at which point they clearly take the data and then they just market to those people, cutting out the local salon and spa, which was the person that did the hard graft and legwork to get that person interested in the brand in the first place. That is why we're professional.
Fantastic. Which leads to the final part of our tagline, which is organic, which possibly speaks for itself, but I always think it's worth reiterating how we ended up there and why you think a salon should consider it. And not only that, is it just the products themselves that they should think of as organic, or are there other elements of their spa and salon they think or could possibly improve?
That's 2 questions, interviewer, all in one.
You're good enough.
As you said, the organic element for us, it came about through a lifestyle change. We were early to the curve, and luckily as a brand, we were early to organic. In the last 5 years, there's been a social media, just Instagram sensation of well-being and nutrition, and it was you that brought us there. I'm always truthful about that, with your rugby and world and life dragging me along with you. And from a business perspective, and also truthfully, once we had got into that ourselves, there was a demand from my point of we needed something for our school, but also we saw it as a niche because there wasn't an organic, and still isn't an organic version of the spa brands that we keep mentioning. And so it seemed like a genuinely good business opportunity, which shouldn't have been missed. Now, from a salon perspective, why should you do it? Firstly, once you know what is in normal products, you barely even need to ask that question. It just becomes a no-brainer. For yourself, you're in it all day long, 8-9 hours a day, just bathing in product. You've got a team of therapists you're responsible for. What you're exposing them to is also relevant and is on your shoulders. And really, in my personal opinion, you have an obligation to your clients to not be making money out of selling them products that are potentially harmful and not as good for their skin as their beautiful boxes and marketing might say they are. So that was part 1 of your question.
Part 2 coming up.
Part 2. This is the bit, and actually I think we should do another podcast on just this. You can take on an organic brand. For salons and spas, you will struggle in that there really aren't very many, and there really aren't very many that are professional brands. But you can take on a brand like ours, people do, and then they don't really run their salon with any organic integrity. And I would say I see that quite frequently. I also see the flip side where we've got people that take it to the max, but there's so much room beyond product. Like spa originally is totally linked to water, is linked to nurturing and life, and is all about well-being. And it really shouldn't, what we do in salon and spa shouldn't be something that is then having a negative impact on well-being, life, and the planet. We shouldn't be running around in salons that have got poor energy, that we're leaving lights on, that we've got wax pots on all day, that we're then pouring bleach down the sinks and the toilets. And there is a challenge of salon spa health and safety standards versus organic, but I don't think anyone gets to it. Then they go and paint a salon in normal paint that's full of volatile compounds, and they have juice or tea in the fridge, which is mainstream and full of nasties. Like, there's so much more to be done, but I suppose fundamentally it comes with some effort. It comes with a price tag. And you could argue, and this is the challenge, is that a lot of people don't see that. The challenge is, as a client sees the product line and they see it on a shelf, and you can say to them, oh, we use this wonderful certified organic soil association products. But it's a more difficult conversation to go, and by the way, we don't put bleach down our toilets. I get bicarb of soda and I go scrubbing it myself, because then we're not killing and poisoning fish. Like,
welcome to our world.
That's not a normal conversation, but I think that's really lacking. And I think it could be done with really interesting marketing and like little mentions around the salon and messages as you go. Like when we go to Scarlett or Bedruthen spas, they're still one of the only spas because they have an to the base inherent eco policy that you turn up at the breakfast buffet and you're not allowed orange juice because of the way orange juice is produced and all the gases and the things that are sprayed on it. They won't have it. And they just say, there's a little sign that says, we use a cloudy English apple juice that's grown in an orchard in Cornwall, and if you really want orange juice, you need to know that this is what's on it, and we will get you some, but we'd really rather you drank apple juice.
So we've just had a very good look at our tagline, Complete Professional Organic, and you've given us a great set of answers regarding that. Well done. But let's get down to some of the more challenging questions, which are, what are the issues of organic? We talked about being complete, but we also highlighted that you can't actually do everything. You know, what are we missing? What are the challenges, and what are the compromises that you're willing to make? Okay,
there are some holes. There are some product holes. Nail varnish remover. Whatever anyone says, they're not organic. I don't think anyone's ever going to make an organic one. There are a sea of, we've gone from 3 free. I looked up Zoya today. They've now gone to 10 free. I mean, it's becoming quite ridiculous. But they're doing a good job. They're starting to take more elements out. But then you get the compromise of, does it work? And so there is some holes in product, and then there's a professional element. So the holes are varnish remover, anything to do with tint, colour, peroxide. So those like Clara, John Lewis will know that your beauty side can operate entirely differently to your hair department. If you want highlights or you want colour lift, you want to go blonde, you need peroxide. What else is gone? Wax, interestingly. We're still working on this because I cannot believe that it's not possible. But what people don't really understand, and I don't think I'd ever thought about it before I went into this world with wax, is that part of the resin is extracted from trees. Now, to be certified organic, that tree would have to be grown on certified organic soil. Very often, production cuts those trees down as well, which clearly is not organically based or great for sustainability. So the actual sticky depilation wax, I think we'll get there on that. I think we'll get one. Few of us are looking. I actually had a phone call with Neal's Yard head office the other day because they were ringing us to say, had we done it? But those of you who do lots of intimate waxing, like one of my favourite things to teach the Brazilians, the world of hot waxes has gone in a different direction. It's gone in a very plasticide, elasticide different and I'm not so sure that we'll get hot wax ever. Anyone else? What are the holes those who are out there at salons?
What about any of the actual, skincare products? We use a lot of balms, we use a lot of non-preservatives. Is there anything in there? Spray tan, I suppose, is a...
Spray tan, getting closer again, but not really fully done. So there are some kind of range, I would call those range sections that are missing. Then if you go ingredient-wise, we have a beautiful world of ingredients that opens up to us. It's twofold. One, we have a beautiful selection of ingredients that the mainstream can't go anywhere near because they're just not willing to pay for them. So we have lots of fun in that sense. But there are a few things that, for instance, if you talk to most dermatologists and said what works on skin, they'll say retinol. As yet, retinol hasn't ever got through an organic certification. So a lot of the kind of mainstream anti-aging products like retinol, the one I can never pronounce, that's the crushed up crabs, niacinamide B3, I think. Yeah. We really wanted it in a product we're making at the moment, and we globally cannot find a source of it that doesn't at the end trace back to being crustaceans. And I'm not mad keen for that, whatever its results are. So there's a few ingredients that are well-known ingredients that are slightly troublesome. So we've got a few range bits, a few ingredients. What else are the challenges? As I just said, I think one of the challenges is people not going into it far enough. So taking the top level organic product, done, tick, doesn't matter about the rest of the salon and spa. And then I think if I was really truthful about the major challenge of organic and salon and spa is that we're smaller brands, we're more niche brands, and people haven't seen us across the cover of Marie Claire, or they haven't seen us when they walk through John Lewis's self-serve beauty department, whereas they've seen all the other brands. And so as a consumer, you have an inherent worry that it's not going to work as well as what you're used to.
So I think Kirsten may have read my notes because my next question was actually going to be about niche brands. So I think you've covered off the challenges of being a niche brand. Why would you have a niche brand then? Obviously, you've said there are the big brands out there that are trusted, but why then would you go for one of the new guys? There's a lot of us. There's a few of us out there that are genuine organic. Maybe not as many as genuine professional, but they are doing a good job. Why would you choose a niche organic brand over a big household name?
Okay, top down. When you are in 5-star spa, whether you are a global spa brand, whether you're a UK spa brand, but you are aiming for the best, the bonus a niche brand like Pink's Boutique delivers is that the likes of LMS, Spa are kind of done. They're everywhere. Like, you could throw a golf ball and you'd probably find a salon or spa with it in. And if you have a genuinely high-end clientele, they're pretty bored of those things. If money isn't an issue, then actually that stuff's a bit old hat. So at the really high level, so we work in some seriously top-end price bars with very high-end earning clientele. In that market, it's the excitement, exclusivity, the fact that you can go and tell your friend over coffee and know something more than her because she absolutely hasn't seen it and she hasn't got it already in her bathroom. So I think that's one of the first ones. From a logistics point, it's so different to work with a company like ours if you're a salon or spa brand. And I hear this all the time. You get to access the key people. So if there is something wrong, and things do go wrong in businesses, you can pick up a phone and at worst, you're probably two steps away from getting either you or me. And that's a fairly conclusive answer. Like, we're going to be quite motivated to fix it. We're going to know the answer. You don't have that horrible system where you're going through customer services and you just know you're about 20 steps away from not only the person with the answer, anyone who even cares, frankly. So it's very different to work with a niche brand because by default they're smaller. So you've got team members that you see quite frequently, that you're used to, and that become to know your business incredibly well. And you don't get turnaround of staff like you do in a lot of product houses where you get a rep 1 month, 2 months later, they come in and say, oh, your rep's changed again. And it's so dull. You just have to go all the way back to the beginning. Hi, my name's Jane. I did this. And that you have to tell them everything about your salon and spa again. And it just, you and I can't go anywhere.
What do I need to know?
And the last thing I think, and this is really specific to Pinks Boutique as well, is the attention to detail. You get to be reactive. We get to do stuff like this. Like, we don't have a giant corporate machine where we have to have 20 meetings to change a cog to head in a certain direction. Like, if Cat and Hat Dan says, tonight, ladies and gents, you are going to do a podcast and you're going to Facebook Live it at the same time, we don't have to have many meetings about that. It kind of just happens. And so
you just have to hope that the children stay asleep.
Yeah, it's the same with anything that occurs. Your marketing, your training, you get to react. You get to react to trends. You get to react to what your salons and spas want. And the level of service just hopefully goes through the roof. That is why I would choose a niche brand. The obvious downside is people don't know who it is. But that's why that kind of hands over to a salon spa owner. And you should only do it, and I really mean this, you should only work with a niche brand, whether they're organic or not, if you truly believe and you want to do something different. Because if you want an easy life, then go ahead, get Dermalogica, open your door, and everyone will toddle on in, and they'll know it. And they'll then the next week toddle on into the one 3 doors down because they've got £5 off. And there just isn't the brand loyalty, there isn't the link to you because you're not different. And there are hundreds of spa product houses. There are hundreds of skincare brands. There are hundreds of salons. What are you going to do to be different? There's got to be something. People need to start thinking about the detail and the differences.
So that's one of the reasons that we can compete with the slower moving, more traditional brands. Social media is fantastic. We can get out there. We can have a platform. You can follow us on @PinksBoutique1 on Instagram, @PinksBoutique on Twitter. Please share the podcast on www.pinksboutique.com/podcast. We are now going to actually record another podcast. We're not going to do it live because this one, I think...
it's quite long for you guys.
Well, but interestingly, one of our viewers this evening on Facebook Live, Claire, the spa manager of the Leeds John Lewis Spa, will be the subject of the next podcast. And we're going to talk about one of our very specific celebrated spas, as we call them, which is the partnership with John Lewis, and how that has allowed us to combine complete professional and organic, but with the retail, and also making a bit more of a name for ourselves. So that's going to be the next podcast. Please listen, please download. Thank you all ever so much for joining this evening. We think it's something we might do again because it's been quite fun.
Yeah.
But good night.
Normally we do this just without you there, and I get to pull more faces at Luke.
Yes. Normally wonderfully loving.